Welcome to English Through Ideas, where we learn English through powerful ideas. Today, we're diving into an absolute classic in the world of self-improvement. We're doing an explainer on Norman Vincent Peale's famous book, The Power of Positive Thinking. We're going to explore some really clear, totally actionable concepts that'll help you level up your mindset, communicate better, and honestly, just grow as a person.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We've got 5 clear steps to cover today. 1. The power of thoughts. 2. Building self-confidence. 3. Finding peace and energy. 4. Overcoming your worries. And finally, 5. Creating your own happiness.
So, let's start with section 1, the power of thoughts, how your mind shapes your world.
You know, our thoughts aren't just invisible clouds in our heads. They're dynamic, real things that literally build the reality we live in. To really get this, we need to define positive thinking. Now, Peale actually developed his method by blending psychological techniques with his Christian faith. But for our explainer today, we're going to zero in right on the practical mechanics for self-improvement. Basically, it's about how anyone, no matter your background, can use optimism to build a truly worthwhile life. Let's look at a quick comparison of the 2 ways our minds can operate. A negative mindset? Well, that focuses entirely on fear, lack, and defeat. But a positive mindset focuses on faith, courage, and success. Peale shares this incredible, real-life story of a traveling salesman to prove this point. This guy's sales were just terrible, right? And he suddenly realized why. While he was driving between customers, his mind was just completely filled with fear and defeat. It was dragging him down. So he made a conscious choice to flip the script. He started keeping small cards written with confident thoughts right there in his car's glove compartment. As he drove, he'd memorize these phrases of courage and success, and guess what? Just by changing those daily thoughts, his confidence completely bounced back and his sales skyrocketed.
And this brilliantly illustrates a famous observation by the pioneering psychologist William James. He said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." Think about that for a second. It's a really simple but profoundly deep idea. If you can just replace those old, tired, negative thoughts with fresh, creative ones, you literally have the power to remake your entire life.
Moving right along to section 2, building your self-confidence, overcoming self-doubt.
Listen, a super common human problem is the inferiority complex. It's that heavy, deep-seated feeling that you're just not good enough. To fight this, the writer Ralph Waldo Emerson gave us this simple yet highly effective quote: "They conquer who believe they can." For all our language learners watching, the key word I want you to remember here is habitually. Self-confidence doesn't just magically appear out of thin air. It completely depends on the type of thoughts that habitually or, regularly occupy your mind day in and day out. Whenever you're feeling totally defeated, a really great tool is to just stop and reappraise or reevaluate your actual assets. Peale tells this powerful story of a 52-year-old man who came to him in total despair. He claimed he had lost absolutely everything. So Peale told him to sit down and make a physical list on paper. He started asking him questions. Is your wife still with you? The man said yes. Do your children love you? Yes. Do you have friends, decent health, a good country? Yes, yes, and yes. Just writing this physical list proved to the man that his situation wasn't hopeless at all. His dark mindset had literally just put a blindfold over his very real existing assets. Now, to actually build up that confidence, you can use visualization, or what Peale calls imaging. This basically means creating a crystal clear picture in your mind of the solution rather than staring at the problem. You picture yourself stepping up and acting confidently, and the trick is you hold onto that mental image tenaciously. You just don't let it go. All right, section 3, finding peace and energy, relaxing for easy power. We so often think that to get more energy, we just need to push ourselves harder and harder, right? But actually, shifting our focus inward is what prevents physical exhaustion. Emotional stress completely drains us, whereas calm relaxation gives us real, lasting power. Peale gives us some totally actionable steps for a mental catharsis, basically a deep clean for your mind. First, you've got to empty your mind of fears. He illustrates this with this wonderful story of a man on an ocean liner. Every single evening, right at sunset, this man would walk to the back of the ship and, imaginatively, he would take his daily worries out of his mind, drop them overboard into the ocean, and just watch them disappear into the waves. Taking that time to find silence and literally empty your mind, it's incredibly refreshing. Here's another really practical tip for you. The actual words we speak have a profound suggestive power over us.
Quite literally, speaking peaceful words makes you feel peaceful. If you slowly repeat a melodic, soft word like tranquility out loud, it acts like a healing medicine for a nervous, overworked mind. It can literally change your physical state. It's definitely worth stopping to ask yourself, are we living at a feverish pace? I mean, today everything is rushing, right? Peel shared a great personal story about this. He was sprinting from giving a speech straight to an autographing party and then running late to a dinner. He was completely out of breath. And suddenly, he just stopped. He realized it was too much. So he skipped the rush dinner altogether, went back to his room, put his feet up, and just read slowly. He needed to regain his emotional mastery. Sometimes, literally, the most productive thing you can do is just slow down. This brings us to Section 4, Overcoming Your Worries. Breaking the worry habit.
Did you know that the word worry actually comes from an old word that means to choke? And honestly, that's exactly what worry does to our daily energy. But here's the most important thing to realize. Worry is an acquired habit. You are not born a worrier. And because it's just a habit, it can absolutely be broken. You can replace it with a much stronger, healthier habit, like faith. A great way to practice this is to start your day by looking right in the mirror and simply saying out loud, I believe.
To really ground this concept, there's a super memorable story of a businessman who created something we can call the wastebasket ritual. This guy used to stay up all night just worrying about every little mistake he made at work that day. So he decided to start a physical habit. Every evening, right before leaving his office, he would tear that daily page off his desk calendar, crumple it into a tight little ball, and literally drop it into the wastebasket. By doing that, he was physically throwing away the day's mistakes. He was letting go of his past so he could look forward to tomorrow with a totally clear head.
And finally, Section 5, Creating Your Own Happiness, a Daily Choice. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that happiness is actually a conscious choice you make every single day. Happiness doesn't just magically fall into your lap. Abraham Lincoln famously observed, people were just about as happy as they made their minds up to be. Peel tells this great story of being on a sleeper train early one morning. A group of men were all shaving in the communal washroom, and they all looked super grumpy and tired. Then, one man walked in, humming a happy tune, smiling broadly at everyone. When somebody finally asked him why he was so cheerful so early, he just simply replied, I make it a habit to be happy. We literally manufacture our own happiness through our mental habits. An amazing tool for building this happiness habit is using an affirmation. An affirmation is just a positive statement you repeat out loud to actively change your thoughts. So for all our language learners watching, here's a highly practical English exercise you can use right away. Try starting every single morning by standing up and saying aloud, this is going to be a glorious day. Doing that literally programs your mind to look for the good right from the start. Ultimately, the true secret to happiness boils down to human love and goodwill. There's this incredibly inspiring story of a man named Ralston Young. He worked as a redcap, carrying heavy bags for travelers at Grand Central Station. One day, he was hired to help a sick, elderly woman in a wheelchair, and she was quietly crying. Ralston just really wanted to bring her some joy, so he simply complimented her, telling her she had a mighty pretty hat and a beautiful dress. That tiny, simple act of goodwill completely changed her day, and she actually smiled through her pain. You see, making others happy brings immense, real joy right back to ourselves. So as we wrap up our explainer today, I really want to leave you with this one provocative question. What powerful idea will you visualize today? Just remember, your thoughts are literally shaping your reality right now. Thank you for learning with English through ideas. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more ideas, more English, and more growth.